Now I'm gonna make you a martini. The martini, the most iconic and classic of all cocktails, is actually the most protein. We have, for some people, a drink that's made with vodka chilled and shaken straight up with an olive. For others, such as myself, the classic style, gin, dry vermouth, stirred, served up with a lemon twist. First, our elements. One of the biggest misconceptions about the martini is that if you shake it versus stirring it, that you'll get it colder. This is actually not true. The factors that determine how cold your martini will be are the temperature of the mixing glass, the temperature of the ice cubes that you're stirring or shaking with, the temperature of the glass. Now, many of you are probably thinking, well, you could also put the vermouth and the gin or the vodka in the freezer or the olives. This is where you're incorrect. One of the ingredients that you won't see listed in cocktail recipes is water. Water is something that is a byproduct of stirring or shaking, and it's something that is absolutely a necessary part of any cocktail. So for that matter, putting your vermouth or putting your gin in a freezer is definitely not a good idea. That being said, the vermouth that you use for martinis or for Manhattans, vermouth is a fortified wine, unlike gin, which around 90–92% is quite sturdy. So your vermouth should be coming out of your refrigerator, not your freezer, and your gin can come right off the back bar. Whenever you're making a cocktail, you want to make sure you have everything right in front of you. You don't want to mix a drink and then have to run down the bar or run down your countertop to grab a glass, to grab a garnish. So you want to have everything at arm's length. I'm going to start by taking my chilled coupe and get that out in front. I'm going to dump the ice out of my mixing glass, and now I'm set to mix. Now, some of you might ask, well, why don't you pour the ingredients right over the ice? All of the cocktails that I make here at PDT are built without ice. The ice is added and the drink is stirred and shaken. The reason for this is when you add room temperature ingredients to a glass filled with ice, the dilution process already starts. As the bartender, I want to be in complete control of how much water I add to my drink by stirring or shaking, so I'm going to add that last. So for my martini, I'm going to start out with the vermouth first, 3/4 of an ounce. And then the gin. The ratio between vermouth and gin varies from customer to customer. When someone will come and sit in my bar and order a drink, and that drink is a martini, I'll typically ask them, how do you take your martini? Would you like it with vodka or gin? How much vermouth do you typically enjoy it with? Would you like it with a lemon twist or olives? If they look at me kind of funny when I talk about gin, I ask them if they'd like it shaken or stirred. Since I'm making this drink for myself right now, I'm going to make it the way I like it, which is 3-to-1 gin to vermouth, 2¼ ounces of gin, 3/4 ounces of vermouth. There's 2 1/4. So I've just added my gin. I'm going to fill the mixing glass with ice. You always want to keep your glass almost completely full. If you don't fill the glass with ice, it'll dilute more quickly. And when you're stirring, you want to have a glass where the heat of your hands isn't warming the glass. So the idea is to get your spoon right in the bottom of the glass and to turn the ice, making as little noise, creating absolutely no air bubbles in the drink. You can stir fast, you can stir slow. The idea is to get the proper chill and the proper dilution. I typically stir this drink for about 7, 8, 9 seconds. The best way to know where you're at is to get a couple straws in there and taste whether you've got the right proportion of water added and the right chill, and I do. I'm going to add a julep strainer, and this sits right here on the edge of a glass. Sometimes you'll see bartenders pouring a long pour here. After spending all that time making sure that I have a drink with absolutely no bubbles that has great viscosity and clarity, it doesn't make sense to do a long pour on a stirred drink. It does make more sense to do a long pour on a shaken drink. You could use olives or a twist in a martini. I prefer the twist. I'm going to hold the twist between my index finger, my middle finger, and my thumb. And I'm going to pinch the twist over the surface of the glass, sending the lemon oil over. Skin side down, I'm going to rub the citrus peel around the edge of the glass, and then I'm going to drop it in face side up. Here's a classic stirred gin martini.